All right, so in this unit, we have talked about uh, whether you can afford to buy a certain type of house or not, or how much you can afford if you're looking at a house or maybe even a condo. Um, we talked about mortgages, as in the money that you borrow to pay for a house. Talked about everything involved in calculating what your monthly mortgage payments would be. We talked about home insurance. We talked about property taxes. These are kind of things that this is after you own the house that you have to deal with, much like this. Okay? Home maintenance, this is what you have to deal with. You've already moved into your house, you've settled in, but you still have to deal with a whole bunch of things. I mean, that's kind of one of the, you know, in general, I would say what I pay for my mortgage every month is cheaper than what I would pay if I rented an apartment in Winnipeg. Because I'm looking at some of the rental costs per month, maybe for a nice apartment, $1,500 a month. But for my mortgage and my property taxes, I pay, and my insurance, maybe a little less, maybe the same. Okay, but the snag comes in if you've got a lot of these. Okay, so maintenance, you can see there, means keeping your house in good condition by checking or repairing regularly. Okay, because if you can fix small problems as they arise, you can avoid much bigger problems down the road that are going to cost a lot more to fix. So what do we mean by daily home maintenance? These are tasks you perform on a regular basis, either, you know, I mean, some of them, no, not every day. I shouldn't really put daily. Weekly, monthly, okay, every couple of months. That's the kind of thing you should be looking at. Although some things you can't help but notice daily. I mean, like, if you get out of the shower one day and you go to the sink and it's leaking, well, obviously, you've got a problem that day, okay? Don't worry about having to memorize or write all these down, okay? I mean, really, for assessment purposes, and I'm talking about a provincial exam, you would want to know a couple, because you may be asked, you know, give an example or give 2 examples of a daily home maintenance task. So that's something that would be good on a reference sheet, okay? And you can see here, they're kind of obvious, like repairing leaking taps and shower heads, changing light bulbs that have burnt out, or your toilet swimming. Do you need some new equipment for your toilet? Need some new parts? If you're looking up at your ceiling and you see a crack in the wall, okay? Any electrical problems. So just sort of focus on a couple of those. You don't have to focus on all of them. Now, those are things that you deal with after they happen, okay, the daily maintenance. Preventative is trying to deal with things before they happen, okay? So here's some examples. Again, you don't really need to know a whole list of them, only a couple of them. A lot of them are outside the house, okay? But just things that if you check on them and deal with them, or not have to deal with them if it looks okay, you know, but just making sure things are like your trees around your house. You know, I had trees and I really heard it when it was windy out, but the trees were so big they were banging on my roof when it was very windy. So those could rip my shingles off. So that's sort of one thing where I say, okay, I need to get somebody to come in and cut those branches. Otherwise, I could end up having to get a whole new roof, which is costing thousands of dollars. Okay, whereas that I pay a guy a couple $100 to go up there and clean up all the branches so that they don't hit my roof. That's just an example. Okay.
Another example is cleaning your windows.
What's that?
Is another example.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you may end up, I mean, depending on, and if you have cracks in your house or something like that, if you don't clean your eavesdrops, it could leak inside. Right? And once water gets inside, it's bad. Like it's not good. Because it runs and then it just wrecks plaster and drywall. I mean, I had I'll give another personal example of why I will never do plumbing again on my own. I replaced a bathtub faucet, but for some reason, it wasn't tight enough. So when I took a shower, and I thought nothing of it because it seemed to work just fine. And then I went downstairs and my bathroom's above my living room. And I saw a whole bunch of water leaking from the wall and from the corner of my wall and living room and ceiling. Because I had just, somehow it wasn't attached properly, so the water shot back and then it went down. And then it hit my ceiling. And now I'm getting it repaired in a month, and that's costing me $5,000. So you got to be careful because, yeah, when things go bad in your house, we're talking thousands of dollars to fix. Oh, you didn't bring me coffee? Okay. Anyway, so you want to look out for those things. What else do we have here? Emergency repairs. Okay. When something breaks down and you need to get it fixed immediately. Like if it's minus 40 outside, is it good? Does it taste good?
Yeah.
Okay, good. What is it?
It's a chai latte with caramel.
Oh, chai latte.
It's good.
I see. Anyway, so furnace, heating systems. I mean, it's minus 40 and your furnace breaks down. You need help now, right? And I mean, that's why these furnace people are 24 hours a day. So you can call them at 2 in the morning and they'll come out because you desperately need it. Same with, hot water tank, roofs, walls, floors, ceilings. You can see all sorts of their plumbing.
In regards to furnace, what is your relationship with Reliance?
Reliance? What's my relationship with them? I don't think I've ever used that. Okay. Well, see, and that's one of the things, whenever I look at something, I go straight to Google reviews to see what kind of, like, how many people have reviewed it and what kind of rating they're getting. Because, yeah, there's some, well, I mean, I had the repairs to my ceiling and my walls because there's cracks in the walls. I got one company to come in and they quoted me $8,000. Second guy came in, quoted me $5,000. Like 3,000 difference. That's huge. So although with emergency repairs, you kind of have to go with somebody hopefully that's really good because you can't really shop around too much when it's minus 40 and your house is freezing and you need your furnace fixed immediately. Okay. Anyway, a few other things about home maintenance, energy efficiency. Okay. Obviously, a way to save money is to have energy efficient, say, appliances. Okay, like a front load washer, front load dryer, things like that. Electricity. So you want to use your electricity. Oh boy,
How does a front load dryer make a difference? Do you mean?
Honestly, I don't know. Yes, yes. For some reason, front load is somehow more efficient. I don't know the science behind it. Honestly, I don't.
That's weird, I would never guess.
But I mean, but if you look at them, but I mean, yeah, if you go and look at them, you'll see the energy efficient labels on it.
I would never guess that.
I don't know, I could be wrong. I mean, the front load washers are definitely more energy efficient.
I haven't.
But I'm not, maybe, I could be wrong about the dryers. I could be wrong about the dryers. Because it may not make a difference about the dryers. Yeah, like I think it's, it probably uses less water. Okay, I guess in a way that, no, I don't think I should make that comparison. I'm trying to think of like a brushless car wash versus a brushed car wash.
I just heard those guys.
Which ones?
The one with the brush.
They can. But then the brushless ones don't do a great job of cleaning your car. Like, I mean, like I went into one and I came out and I could still see the lines on my windshield wipers from like the spots that it doesn't hit when you use your wipers on the edge of your windshield. I mean, I could still see sort of a little bit of dirt there because it doesn't seem to spray it off completely, whereas a brush would.
So you kind of on this, like either like have a little bit of dirt on the car.
But I take mine to the shiny all the time.
I think that's the way to go.
And they've got brushes and it seems like it works out okay. I've heard of it, but I haven't. Fun. How is it fun?
There's light and like.
Do you stay in your car? Oh, so they don't clean out the inside of your car?
No, they have free vacuums.
Oh, I see.
You can do it yourself. I don't think actually for a car wash because there's lights. You can then go clean up the rest of your car yourself. It's a really good deal.
See, okay. No, I've heard of it. Okay, so things to sort of manage costs on your house. Things energy, like I said, energy efficient appliance, using electricity wisely. You know, like in Manitoba, we're pretty lucky because we generate a lot of electricity here. So our costs aren't really crazy. But still, it can get costly if you don't use it wisely. So here you just see, and again, only focus on a couple. Because you may be asked, like, what are a couple of things you could do to reduce your electricity consumption? Well, I've got a whole bunch of bullet points here. You don't need to know all of them, but focus on a couple of them. You know, and some of them are pretty obvious, like turn off lights when you leave a room. You know, turn off TVs or computers when you go to bed. Things like that. Okay. And then there's other sort of things having to do with your appliances. Front, okay, front. Oh yeah, there you go. There you go. Front load washing machines, typically more energy efficient because they require less water. Okay. So I was probably wrong about the dryers, but here, if you have sensors that turn off the dryer within a certain period of time, that's obviously going to save electricity. If you have like an old dryer where you just have to turn it on and, you know, for 60 minutes, whereas you could probably dry it in 40 minutes. Although most dryers now that people have will have some ability at timed dryer. Okay. Or ones, the higher end ones, have sensors that sense when it's dry and then doesn't use as much time on the drying cycle. Okay. Heating. And again, here, There's different types of heating. A lot in Manitoba, natural gas, but electricity is also used. Propane and oil, you can see outside of cities. Okay. Sort of becoming more and more prevalent is geothermal heating, basically using the ground to help you heat. And again, some tips for improving heating, you know, like if you've got the heat on, don't open any windows. Kind of obvious. If you've got the air conditioning on, don't open any windows, you know, because you're just wasting heat around there. But another thing too is checking for drafts in your house. And that's especially with old homes. Like I have an older home and I mean, it's different temperatures in my house. When I go near my stove, where the vent is that blows things outside, blows steam outside, I can feel the cold coming in. So like it's a different temperature in front of my stove than it is in my living room. Okay. So like I said, that's just a summary, but again, the important thing is you don't need to know all the bullets, but you should know a couple of them. And how can you remember those? Put it on a reference sheet. Okay, it doesn't take a lot of space. Okay. Driving in.